What is up, GG603, owner and operator of TSW Wrestling. Of course, as you all know, we are so close to 603 Mania, and as this is the second to last ever 2K24 ranking special for TSW. More important than ever, the rankings, the attribute boosts, and most importantly, the bragging rights. Let's get into it, baby. Coming off the top rope, quick mention here. Of course, a couple honorable mentions and some goodbyes from the rankings. Of course, Savart. Oh, great showing so far from them. We got Bama, of course, part of that big tag team title match. We know no clue who our partner is going to be. We know it's not Miss Chico, Miss Hudat, or Steph. So really opening things up here. We got Mr. Benjamin, of course, dropping out the rankings inactive, but did qualify for that ladder match in the previous week. We've got Tony, the former three-time Tony title holder, I guess. We've got Grim, of course, losing the trios matchup. Roy McCracken taken out backstage, not there at ringside, of course, for one Young. But let's get into the official rankings. Double header right out the gate. We've got Chef Jay Ruiz and Fendler here, of course, both unranked, officially number one contenders for the trios championships. And you're going, well, 28 Rocks? No. If you guys have been paying attention, of course, Rock's going to be a little bit higher in these rankings. He has been on a bit of a heater as of late. So, of course, Chef Ben going for those trios titles against Team America at 603 Mania. We know the iteration as well, as we'll touch on that in a little bit here. But let's keep this thing going. Talking about a pair of guys, a pair of dudes, a cuckadoodle dudes, if you will. By the way, like kind of a little refreshing of the look here for Swanee as well. But DJ, of course, and Swanee multiple times. DJ, three-time tag champion. Swanee, of course, held tag titles with DJ. Swanee holding multiple gold, the hardcore, the cruiserweight. I always do that. I don't think he held the hardcore. I know he held the cruiserweight twice, though. Of course, going up against the Founding Fathers, 603 Mania. Double duty for the Founding Fathers. Again, we'll touch on that in a bit, but huge matchup for the Birds. Cuckadoodles trying to be the first ever four-time tag team champion is DJ. We've got Yimmy, of course, going from unranked to jumping in here at the 26th spot. Huge win over CJ where they battled through the crowd. That was absolutely electric. So pleased that happened. Second time that's ever happened. I wish I changed the barricade oh so much sooner. Maybe it would have happened more. We know for next year though, but of course Yimmy stepping into that elimination chamber for the hardcore title, as we now know will be the hardcore match at Mania. We'll touch on that as well as we go on through these rankings, but starting things at TS25. JG603 looking a little fresh there, sir. Maybe a little preview spoiler possibly of a WrestleMania tire we've been looking at, but of course JG was 20, dropped back 25. Maybe could have dropped out 25 completely, but of course I own the damn thing. I'm putting myself in these rankings somewhere. 603 Mania cruiserweight ladder match. Cannot wait for that matchup. Some huge implications involved there. And speaking of which, we got LBJ dropping back 3 spots. Of course, part of that ladder match. First time ever we're going to see JG versus LBJ in some regards. It's going to be a really fun multi-man match. I am so excited for 603 Mania, as you guys are well aware. Talked about it all rankings last week. But LBJ, big opportunity to be a 2-time Cruiserweight champion, and it's definitely worth mentioning. Clap while no longer champion. That extra week with the title did bump him 2 days past LBJ's title reign. So, if LB wins the 603 Mania by the time we grab background Thursday Throwdown, he will be the longest reigning champion, which of course we'll talk about the off season next week, as of course you guys might wonder, what are we doing in 2K25, how are we going to transfer in? We will be touching on that. Moving right along here, talked about him moving up 4 spots this week. We got Rocks the Girthquake looking really good with the congregation here, really dominant, athletic, just a physical specimen out here. Looking really good so far. Up at the 23 spot, of course, going against those trios championship, going forth those trios championships at 603 Mania, I should say. Moving up onto AJ, aka Night Sky, of course. Big week in Detroit, lost the tag match, but did turn it around. Big steel cage win, stood supreme at the end of that segment, looking to be the 2-time Universal Champion, first time ever for that title. 22 2-time champion. It really worked itself out, didn't it? But of course, AJ versus Box, not to the stipulation yet, but you better believe that is going to be a blockbuster matchup. Speaking of blockbusters, Steph, 4-time women's champion over 100 days with that title. Can she be the first ever? Of course, first ever 3-time, first ever 4-time, first ever 5-time women's champion against Huggies. The loser will not have a rematch to start off 2K25, so that belt's gonna open on up a little bit, so we're nervously excited there. Talk about a belt that's gonna open up after 603 Mania in a hectic couple weeks for this wrestler. We're talking Joker PhD. You know, we still got that mask on him, but I think it's fair to shed that mask, leaving the apocalypse, the disciples firmly behind him. The fan support has swelled. You know, I think it's pretty torn right now. Team Finn, Team Joker, but I know for one thing's for sure, Team Raw versus Team Joker. Most people are going to be Team Joker. Of course, Joker was hoping to beat Raw, go to 603 Mania. Finn interrupts, changes the whole dynamic of that situation, and now we're going to see Finn versus Joker at 603 Mania with the #1 contendership on the line. That is going to be a huge matchup, especially when we continue the possibility of a Finn versus Landmark, a Joker versus Raw possibility in that situation. Here at 19, we're going up to Yunk, who has been undefeated and on a hot streak in TSW. I do believe we're sitting 3-0 at the moment. Of course, big win over Chico this week. Shocker of a lifetime. And by the way, we normally go through every honorable mention a little bit earlier, but as we mentioned Chico here, it bears worth mentioning a couple of that we maybe didn't touch on earlier and on. Of course, Chris and Swain Games returning. We now have, speaking of Swain Games, War Games official for 603 Mania as well. Big opportunity to continue this hot streak and maybe even catapult up the card if able to get that victory. But also, speaking of some honorable mentions, worth mentioning as well, won't be higher in these rankings gathered at this point. Stony Schmitty looked fantastic in that gauntlet match. Casio is solid as well. Clap will be coming up later. But most importantly, CJ looking great in that hardcore match, and worth mentioning, not ranked here, Tampa versus Deekster BCOT Championship. Lost in the shuffle a little bit with a hectic show the week prior, but that's going to be a really fun one as well. Moving right on here, we've got Team America Kapnerk, the lowest he's been ranked in quite a while here with DT and Kopak, and he said, well, why aren't you putting him with DT2 as well? If you guys saw this week before, it's DT2 qualifying for Cruiserweight Ladder Match Mania. He's going to get a little bit more of a bump here, of course, as he chance to become a champ at that show. Shocker, right? I love it. Absolutely love it. Moving up on here to 15, we got Big Time TS2 Sweet 18 up to 15, 3 spots. Count out win. Win nonetheless, though. Laid out after that match. Controversy abounds with that fatal 4-way, but a win is a win. Big time, big win, big momentum here. Big loss. Big fall in the rankings and the end of the show this week. My God. So the contract was official. Dargon, Brandon 2K, special guest referee. Brandon's like, Pat's my boy. Dargon's like, Pat's my boy. Well, as we saw there, Brandon found out Pat is not his boy and has now trapped himself in what I gather is a legally binding situation where Pat is the special guest referee. Dargantix strikes again, damn it. And you hate to see it. You really do. You really do. Moving on to 13, from an unlucky situation to unlucky 13. Will it be luck, though? Will luck be the lady tonight for DT2? Again, talking about a possibility of a champ scenario with the trios and the Cruiserweight title. Big win this week for DT2 over Adam as well, that's a big match. That's a big win right there. Talked about Adam. Talked about him a few ago, and we're going to talk on Clap here. Number 12 in the rankings. Drop back 1 spot. I wanted to drop him further, but apparently I wasn't allowed to drop him lower from what I gather. This is getting out of hand. Of course, Clap upset with the officiating, the double duty, the allowance of Khan, and the weight shifting, and a lot of controversy surrounding that. But it is official. Clap has gotten his way into the Ladder Match Mania, and well, this week we were set to have, of course, Adam versus Clap versus Luch, last chance qualifier. Clap has taken this last spot. So unfortunately for Luch and Up and Adam, there will be no qualifier. There will be no Cruiserweight Championship opportunity. I know. It's a lot to take in, a lot to digest here. So there's certainly gonna be some repercussions in TSW. You gotta think maybe Team Canada looking to get a piece of the Clap Army, which does bring us to this tag team showcase we've spoken of at 603 Mania. we got to figure out what's next for the tag title. So 603 Mania, we talked about it's going to be an 8-man, 4-team match. And we can confirm right now that Sap and Vibe will indeed be facing off in some regard with Luch and Adam in that tag team turmoil matchup. They will be 2 of the 4 teams involved. We absolutely have to get them in there with each other. I'm still shocked and appalled, as we truly all are, taken aback by the actions of Wall Street Clap Daddy here. But we gotta turn things around in the rankings. Things got dark there for a minute. Shining light. This is JG, of course, coming in hot. 2-time tag champ, 2 different partners, one of 2 to do that. Actually, the only to do that, now that we think of it, of course, Miss Huda and Miss Chico never captured those titles. So Miss JG, a little bit of history for herself there, but did take a big jump in the rankings from 17. Tag win this week, of course, and big tag match coming at Mania. We know the tag title question mark. Read and answer. Next in the rank, is that going to be the tag team partner? No, it's going to be Ched. Ched drops 1 spot there. What is? I love that. That pose. I guess the menu screens reset at some point. Fantastic nonetheless. King Ched looking good as always. Drops back a spot. Bad count out. Loss here. Can't put too much against him. Trio's back. Was back. Maybe not back. Got absolutely decimated. But 603 Mania, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we got a boost in some regards. He's got a hometown crowd there. Of course, touched on a minute ago. We've got Jen here. Rises up a spot. Controversial decision here. You know, a little bit of an activity, but very efficient in the managerial role at the moment. And steam ahead towards 603 Mania. Plus, Ched lost. We got to swap him. We got to swap him on a loss, guys. Moving up to the top 8, the Ocho here. Dropping back 2 spots. Technically won by DQ. Kind of lost that brawl afterwards, but champion nonetheless. We're talking Phineas and Herb. Got that beautiful +1 there on the rankings. Of course, 1/2 tag team champions set to do double duty against Joker and, of course, the Cuckadoodle Dudes, the Birds there at 603 Mania for the tag titles. Finn, interesting pivot point in Finn's history in TSW. How does he respond to these next 2 weeks? That might just define this man and his future in TSW. Talk about a guy whose future in certain question. Talking about weight cuts and division changes. We're talking Khan, 2-time cruiserweight champion here. Ladder match at Mania. Hate to do it to you, Khan, but you're in a tough spot. 5 people against you. But you've been electric as champion. The fans have rallied support, and hopefully Khan can walk out and still at 603 Mania. Although I kind of want that title myself. Moving on here, we have got Huggies going up 1 spot, 7-6 here. Of course, big tag win. Been really on fire. 2-time women's champion. Will she shut down Steph's chance to get that title back at 603 Mania? That is the question here. That is the linchpin of the women's division right now. Forget the tag. This is going to really set the pace for that division going forward. Now the top 5. Controversy is here. Dargon's gonna jump from 8 to 5. Of course, got the tag win. Technically lost a backstage brawl, but I think this huge Pat revelation is enough to bump him up these rankings. We touch on, of course, with a Brandon entry in these rankings, but Dargon doing Dargon things, frankly. It is what it is. You hate him, you love him. You love to hate him, you hate to love him. It is what it is there, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on. We've got the 4 spot. Boxy drops back 1. Again, kind of got the tag win there, but did lose the steel cage. Gonna put that a little bit more in higher seating, you know, as a singles opportunity. But Boxy, longest reigning Universal, longest reigning hardcore champion. And man, at 603 Mania, huge test against longtime friend, now foe, in AJ. The top 3. We got Raw. Of course, Rumble winner, got the win this week. It's the +2 in the rankings right now, which is absolutely massive. We know the deal with him. Fatal 4-way at 603 Mania for the championship, but now the top 2 is really where the intrigue lies. And, you know, to be honest, if you watch this week's show, I don't think that there's a question. The streak has come to an end as Landmark will fall to the 2 seed. Count out loss, stood strong after the fact, but count out loss nonetheless doesn't look too good. But main event at 603 Mania, he is champ, tag champ, world champion, main event, landmark. And as you can probably gather, that would mean debuting at the #1 spot is going to be the one and only Roldy. Dominant gauntlet win. Win, lose, or draw this week will be in the chamber at Mania. Opportunity knocks. Roldy has answered as a dominant force here in TSW, not only winning matches, but taking out his opponent completely after the fact. But here we go, guys. 1 week remains. Thursday, we'll be in Chicago, Illinois, on our way to Milwaukee for 603 Mania. Make sure you guys are locked and loaded. Take March 6th off from work, call in sick, do what you can, take a vacation day. Because 603 Mania, we're talking 4 or 5 hours of wrestling greatness. You guys have been the best. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, note about ding, activate, all that good stuff. And I appreciate you. Woo! Too sweet indeed.